I'm Jessica Dean, the Director of Marketing at AIM Transportation Solutions. I'm here today with a very special guest, Mr. Dimitri Olympidis. Dimitri is the Vice President of Central Enterprises at Family Express. Family Express is a longtime customer of AIM Integrated Logistics, and they've just renewed their dedicated contract carriage agreement with AIM this year. We're here to talk to Dimitri about how they came to that decision in such a turbulent year and hear a little bit about Family Express and how dedicated contract carriage at AIM looks through the eyes of a customer. Dimitri, thank you for being here. Can you please tell us a little bit about Family Express?
Family Express was started actually on Christmas Day in 1975 when Gus Olympidis, who I affectionately call Dad, opened the first store on the west side of our hometown and where our corporate headquarters is located in Valparaiso, Indiana. Today we're 74 stores. We're in the process of opening one right now, so 73, 74. We have several in the works, and our unique logistical model consolidates about 30 traditional direct-to-store deliveries into weekly and daily deliveries throughout the week. We're known for fuel, our proprietary brands, Java Wave, gourmet bean to cup coffee, which we just introduced, the Java Wave European Cafe, which is a very high quality cappuccino beverage, squeeze freeze, and several other private label things from water to milk. And our Craven's Market brand is a line of sandwiches, and we also have a Craven's Bakery, which is made in our central bakery here in Valparaiso. We are constantly trying to position ourselves with a level of vertical integration that allows us to be nimble in the market.
Very good, very good. So I know COVID has hit the food service industry particularly hard. So this has been an interesting year for a lot of people. How has that impacted you guys at Family Express?
Well, tremendously is the short answer. But in any of these situations, the challenge, I think, is to seek out the opportunity. As COVID hit, we were on the process of opening a bakery that we had spent the better part of 4 years planning and building. We were in the final stages the week COVID really hit in the middle of March and getting ready to open. That bakery was a daily bakery, made products every day, delivered to the stores, open case. So you reach into an open case, you could touch, one or two donuts in the process of grabbing your donut. And before we even opened the doors on that facility, we had to put the brakes on and reevaluate our offering. So we shut it down essentially the week we opened it before we even ran a single donut for retail purpose and retooled the entire program to be a packaged bakery. We believed in early March that with what was coming, germ transfer, contact with hard surfaces, things that were just starting to come out as to be a cause for the spread of COVID were going to be major concerns for our consumer. And so we transitioned to a packaged bakery environment that we not only weren't prepared for, but had to reformulate every single product we make and completely change the logistical model, how that stuff left our building and got into our stores. So it was a tremendous impact to what we do.
And I think you really hit the nail on the head with the word nimble to be able to pivot that quickly with something that was right on the cusp of opening. So that's a pretty incredible way to handle that situation. So glad to hear that you were able to adapt that quickly. So Family Express renewed their dedicated contract agreement with AIM this year. Could you tell us what the major influencers are on why you were kind of chose to go that route?
Well, we had spent a lot of time up until that point kind of evaluating the model that we have had for over a decade leading up to the original contract. The first 3 years were more about overlaying what we had already done with this new organization and kind of keeping a blank slate in mind, if you will, on what opportunities there were. through that process, the collaborative mindset of AIM, the experience that they brought to the table from a transportation standpoint, and their willingness to have open dialogue on ways we could improve what we did really resonated with us when we made that final decision. We were thinking drastic things, and there was never a moment where AIM kind of backed away from the table and said that wasn't possible. They took anything we threw at them, and they always had an open mind to where can we take this thing. And as a result, over the last year, we've completely transitioned our logistical model to a totally different system. And I think that was largely in part to their willingness to not just accept the way things had been done, but try to figure out a way to do what we do better.
Very nice. So what has AIM done for your costs specifically?
Well, they never miss a bill. So we're still spending money. But we were able to consolidate what was a daily delivery and multiple different deliveries, even with our overarching strategy of consolidating deliveries. We still had quite a few that were going to the stores, and we were able to consolidate those deliveries into a much more efficient model that at the end of the day allowed us to do more for less.
Very nice. So did this change the way that the job looked for your drivers?
Yeah, very much so. You know, one of the big drivers for a lot of the things that we do is obviously our customers are our priority, but our people are a priority as well. And although the drivers don't work for us directly, one of the things that we put a lot of focus on was quality of life for these individuals. The system originally had our drivers leaving here around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and our last driver sometimes rolled in at 1:30, 2 o'clock. So that route, all the routes, they're missing dinner with their family. They're not home when the kids come home from school. They're not home when their spouses get off work. And a lot of what we've done in this building has been in an effort to change that. And so at the top of the list, I think quality of life was one of the things that we were able to improve by shifting when we deliver. On top of that, we were able to make some significant improvements as it relates to safety. With our old system, we were running a single stack up and down a ramp, sometimes 30 times a store. And it became apparent to us that although this was a working system, there was a lot of opportunity for injury, or not necessarily unsafe conditions, but conditions that I personally wouldn't be comfortable with. And so it actually was watching a beverage delivery from a Coke, a Pepsi driver, I believe, and watching them bring a full load that had been palletized at their warehouse to the end of the truck, down a lift, and then take that whole load to the door. It kind of clicked for both us and parties from AIM that this could be a way for us to do things. So AIM brought in a lot of their experience from some of their other accounts, coupled with all these wild, crazy ideas that we had, and we were able to develop a system that eliminated that ramp altogether. Now everything goes off on a lift gate. So that in itself improved the driver situation. We also changed the type of driver that we were looking for. So instead of a driver that drives a straight truck, a different class, a driver than a semi-driver and tractor and trailer, I'm sorry, we went with the higher class driver, which commanded a little bit more money. But with the efficiencies that we were able to realize, we were able to afford that higher wage, but it brought in a better driver. And so the result was all the way around the table whether it was from the safety perspective, from the driver perspective, from the Family Express perspective, or the AIM perspective, what we had done had been better. And so it really was a win-win for everybody involved.
There's not very many situations where there is a win-win truly. So that was definitely something that was great for AIM, and we're glad it turned out so well for Family Express. With this operational shift, was there also a shift in the type of equipment you used?
Big shift. We went from a refrigerated straight truck to all tractor and trailers. And, we were heavily vested in that straight truck equipment. One of the big challenges we had to face was with varying expirations of the equipment based on the life of the equipment. How do we transition to where we need to we knew we needed to transition to while keeping our commitments with all this equipment that we had.
So do you mind if I ask, what did you do with all the equipment that you had in place prior when you replaced it with the new equipment?
This was a long process. It lasted about 10 months, but with the help of AIM and their ability to help navigate us through some of these agreements that we made, both on purchases and leases, we were able to slowly transition to the new fleet, which ended up being a blessing in disguise. It allowed us to kind of phase in this new system, if you will. And through that phasing in, we were able to identify bottlenecks and fix them as we went. We were also able to slowly acclimate our team to what we were transitioning, both in the stores, the distribution center, and throughout the company. But with AIM's help, and a lot of AIM's help, we were able to transition all that equipment and deals that we had made prior to all the new equipment.
Very good. So, Dimitri, big picture question here. What would you say to a company who is maybe in ownership, maybe leasing, they are running their own operation at this time, and they are considering dedicated contract carriage with AIM Integrated Logistics?
Well, these guys, at high level, I would recommend them. But I think the key thing for me is a willingness to kind of push the envelope, if you will. A lot of times in an effort to really to make drastic changes, you have to make some leaps along the way. And that's tough to do if you don't have a partner that's willing to make those leaps with you. What AIM has demonstrated is that with careful planning and on both sides, on their end and our end, and a lot of thought, when it comes to the point to make that leap, they're willing to do that. And so if you're looking to continue a great system, they're going to be great. But if you're looking to improve a great system to make it an even better one, which is what we're always striving to do at Family Express, they have proven themselves to be a great partner in that process.
Well, thank you for that. And with Integrated is a true partnership. There has to be a commitment on both sides to flexibility, to continuous improvement, and to really push yourself, and we push ourselves to get the most value within both organizations. So we really appreciate your time today and your endorsement of AIM Integrated. I just want to thank you very much for being here, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
Hey, thank you, and have wonderful holidays.
Thank you, Dimitri.